Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be reacting to a video called Germans Sleep Differently Than Americans. Feli from Germany. This is from a channel called Feli from Germany, so check it out. How different could they sleep? I don't think there's that much of a difference, but I guess we'll find out. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
When I first came to the US for my exchange semester, I rented a furnished room in an off-campus house with American roommates. And since I obviously didn't own anything in the US yet and only brought 2 suitcases for the whole semester, I couldn't really bring things like bedding, towels, and other essentials. So I actually ordered those things on the internet in advance and had them delivered to the house in the US so that they'd be waiting for me when I arrived. For my first night there, I made sure that I ordered fitted sheets, a pillow, a pillowcase, a duvet, and a duvet cover. Just regular bedding. Or so I thought.
It depends. But also I think it depends on the person.
And welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, in a whole new setting in my bedroom, fitting to the topic. In case you're new here, my name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. So I order my bedding to the house in the US. I arrive. I'm super happy that I already have bedding for my first night there, at least something. I sleep great. But then my American roommate checks out my room and says, "Oh, you got a duvet? That's so fancy." And I'm just like, huh? What do you mean? How else would I sleep? That's when I realized that I was right.
I think like it's more, especially at college level, like I think very few people own a duvet and a duvet cover. I think that's more like a grown-up situation. But again, you know, like if you want to have a duvet and a duvet cover when you're you know in college, go ahead. But again, it depends on the person.
Right in the middle of my very first culture shock and learning experience, because turns out sleeping and bedrooms are done quite differently in the US and in Germany. That includes bedding, the beds themselves, how many mattresses are used. That was actually a huge shock for many Americans that visit Germany for the first time. And even certain furniture that you may or may not find in the bedroom. So in Germany, it's standard to have a duvet with a duvet cover. In German, we simply call this Bettdecke and Bettbezug or Bettwäsche. In the winter, people often put in a thicker duvet like this one. In the summer, you can use a pretty thin one. The trickiest part about this is definitely the process of putting the cover on. It's something that we start practicing pretty early in Germany. I remember when we went on school trips in 5th or 6th grade, we always had to make our own beds at the Jugendherberge, the hostel. So my parents would practice with me at home.
I thought it was a school trip. Wow, things are very different in Germany if they send their kids on school trips at a hostel. Like, that's really weird to me. I thought it was, I don't know, like a camping trip or, I don't know, just like summer camp. Not like, but not at a hostel.
To properly put on the bed sheets, the pillowcase, and the duvet cover. In the US, a lot of people actually sleep with a top sheet where your cover basically consists of a thin bed sheet with some kind of blanket on top of it. Or if it's too warm, you can just use the sheet by itself, but the sheet is usually the only part that touches your skin and the part that gets washed most frequently.
Exactly, and that's why some people use the duvet cover, because then you don't have to wash it every week or whatever, I don't know how often people wash their sheets. But yes, I think some people are a little bit freaked out by this because it's like, it's covering my body. And it's like, well, I guess everyone has different habits. It just depends like how dirty it's your body, like when you're like getting in bed. I don't know, whatever it is. But it's, you know, it's a thing. It's a whole thing.
I mainly knew that type of bedding from vacations to warmer countries in Southern Europe or Asia. And I think I had seen it at American hotels before too. But I was actually quite surprised to find out that the majority of Americans also choose to use that at
Okay, yeah, wait, this is the poll. How do you feel about this following statement? You should use a top sheet on your bed. Of course, I should. Strongly agree, 5% agree, 25 neither agree or disagree or strongly disagree. Well, yeah, of course, like you should use a top sheet. I'd be a strongly agree. Yeah, what else would I be using?
At home, in their own beds, especially with air conditioning being so widespread. So I'm assuming it's not necessarily a choice based on temperature. Actually, if you're someone who sleeps with a top sheet at home, I'd be curious to hear what your reasons for that are. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below.
Who knows?
Because for me personally, the sheets always end up in a crazy mess by the end of the night, and making your bed with a top sheet is honestly a mystery to me.
No, welcome is a mystery. It's normal. But yeah, I think that's a thing that you have to take into account. If you're like a messy sleeper, if you're just like stay like a mummy like all night long, I don't know, like who knows?
The other option that seems to be quite popular in the US, and that was completely new to me, is using a comforter where the outside is attached to the inside of the blanket. These are typically not put inside another cover, but they're used just like that as one piece. Some people do put them on top of a top sheet, but some people also just use them without one. And if you wash them, you wash the whole thing. Now, having a duvet with a duvet cover is also a thing in the US, but it's definitely not the most common option. No. According to this survey, only 11% of Americans use a duvet. And to get back to what I said at the beginning, especially—
Wow, like only 11%. I'm actually surprised by that because I would have thought it's not the majority of people, but I would assume a lot of people do use a duvet cover. But again, it's more like, oh, it's fancy. Like you want to feel a little bit luxurious. Like you would, oh, I'm going to switch to that duvet.
Among college students and younger people in general, I feel like this is considered a little fancier and maybe more grown-up than just using a top sheet or a one-piece comforter. Before Ben and I moved in together, he always just had a comforter, but fortunately, he prefers the concept of a duvet as well, so that's what we have here in our bedroom. I mean, I honestly couldn't imagine it any other way. I'm definitely German at heart in that regard. To wash it, you just take off the cover and wash that. There's no need to wash the whole thing every time, and it doesn't get as messy as the setup with a top sheet. For pillows, it's common to have pillowcases in both countries, by the way, and same goes for the bottom sheets that go on the mattress.
I'm sorry, what? Did you mention like it's normal to have pillowcase? Yeah, everywhere in the world.
Get as messy as the setup with a top sheet. For pillows, it's common to have pillowcases in both countries, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry, but in what country is it not normal to have a pillowcase? You should, that's normal everywhere. What?
And same goes for the bottom sheets that go on the mattress. I'd say fitted sheets are preferred in both countries, but some people also just use regular flat sheets. Now, before we get to
that's psychopath behavior. The thing is gonna move. You need a fitted sheet. That's crazy.
Most shocking differences. Let's take a second to talk about the things that you and your partner, or just you alone, do at night before you go to sleep. No, not that. I'm talking about the other thing that we all do. Watching TV, or nowadays mainly streaming your favorite movies and series.
I think that would be a little shocking to me. You watch TV before bed. I think like in this day and age, most people just like use their phones or like, or read a book. That's like a normal thing. But like watch TV, I think I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I would think that's maybe just, in this day and age, I don't think a lot of people are like literally watching TV like before bed. Maybe, oh, actually, I don't know, who knows? Maybe it's like, it depends. Some people check social media, some people read, and some people watch a show or something. So, okay, it depends.
Because did you know that with private internet access, you can unlock tons of additional content on streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus, and get access to content that is usually blocked in your country? Shout out to them for sponsoring this video and for bringing all of our streaming experiences to the next level with an amazing deal. PIA is a virtual private network, or in short, VPN, that allows you to hide your IP address and safeguard your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. Because just like you want to be able to close your bedroom door for some privacy, you don't want hackers, network administrators, or your internet provider to be able to see your personal data. And because the servers that this runs through are located in 84 different countries and all 50 US states, I can just go ahead and change my location to Germany, for example, and get access to German TV shows like Wer steht mir die Show that are usually geo-blocked for me in the US. Or did you know that if you set your location to Australia, you can watch The Lord of the Rings on Netflix, even though it's not available on the American Netflix? Or that you can finally watch shows like Friends or The Office on Netflix without any ad breaks if you select the UK. It even allows you to watch sports games that are usually restricted in your region. You can get around NFL blackouts, for example, and you can get access to cheaper flights and online deals. The crazy part is that with my link in the info box below, PIA is giving you guys an 83% discount, which means it's only $2.03 a month, plus 4 months completely for free, which, if you know how much VPNs usually cost, is an insanely good deal, especially considering that you can now protect unlimited devices with just one PIA subscription. So just check out the deal in the info box below or go to piavpn.com/Feli from Germany and enjoy. Now let's talk about beds. The main difference is that in the US, one of the most common bed models is the box spring bed, while in Germany, we mostly have slat beds. But what's the difference? So box spring beds look like this and kind of consist of different layers, if you will. You have the bed frame, then the box spring, which kind of looks like a mattress, but it's actually just a structure that's supposed to support the mattress, and then the actual mattress on top. A traditional box spring actually has coil springs inside, hence the name box spring, but sometimes they're also just a metal frame like this one. Many people then also add one of these mattress toppers, often made from memory foam for extra comfort. Due to all of these layers, American beds are often a whole lot taller than German beds, and I've heard from a lot of Americans that they found it super weird when they slept in a German bed for the first time, and their arms suddenly touched the ground when they let it hang out of the bed because the bed was so much lower than what they're used to. Now, over the last 15 to 20 years, box spring beds have actually become more popular in Germany as well. When I was 17,
because they don't want to have their arms touching the floor, maybe?
I even got a box spring bed for my bedroom because my family had just come back from a road trip through the US, and I loved all of the American beds at the hotels. And since I still had a twin bed at the time and needed a new bed anyways, I picked a box spring bed. But even though those beds are becoming more and more common, they're definitely not what we would consider a normal bed in Germany. People will specifically call it
the concept of a normal German bed, that's insane.
Box spring bed or an American bed even. Normal beds in Germany and in many other European countries just consist of the frame and then the Lattenrost, as we say in German, the slats that are
maybe, again, not an engineer very clearly. Why is it sort of curved? Is it no? Shouldn't it be straight? Is it because? No, I can't really. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. At the end of the day, you're putting a mattress on top. But why is it curved? It's gonna be a design concept that I'm not really getting. But it's obviously like for something. I don't know. Who knows?
They're kind of flexible underneath the mattress to absorb movement, and then one mattress, or one mattress layer, I should say. And the same goes vice versa. These type of beds are definitely available in the US, and I think thanks to IKEA, they're actually becoming more popular. But at least in my experience, if you don't have a box spring bed, I'd say it's more common to have a platform bed instead, where the mattress simply sits on a flat support structure like this one. Especially among college students, having these foldable platforms is actually quite common.
But wouldn't you sort of like fall to the floor?
And you might also see platform beds with these wood boards, but they're not usually flexible like the European slats. Now let's get to the controversial part of this video. Imagine you travel to Munich or Berlin for the first time, you book a room for two in a nice hotel, and then you find this. And you're left completely confused. Did they run out of big beds and just push together two twin beds? But wait, it's one big bed frame. Did they run out of big mattresses and bedding? Or why in the world are there two mattresses and two blankets when you clearly booked a room for a couple? Well, I wish I could give you a clear answer for the why, because to be honest, I was never a fan of this either growing up in Germany.
Oh, she doesn't like it either, okay.
For sure, is that this is pretty standard in Germany. Having one big doppelbed, as we call it, a bed for two, but instead of having one large mattress, it'll just have two single mattresses in it and two separate duvets. My parents' bed is like that too. The weirdest part about that setup is definitely the crack in the middle of the two mattresses. Some people add like a filler piece to kind of close that up, but At least
Okay, if you're adding the filler piece to just get a normal bed, why would you have the thing? I do not understand this. I think it's strange. And again, if you're adding something to it, wouldn't that defeat the whole purpose? Just get a normal. Well, it's not the bed. I think it's the mattress. Just get a queen size mattress or a king size mattress.
in my opinion, that doesn't really make it better. So why would a whole country choose to sleep like this?
Yes, why?
Most Germans explain it with practical reasons. Having two mattresses means that each person can pick a mattress that fits their individual body weight and sleeping preferences. Some people need a firmer mattress, others want...
But is it that serious, really? Well, I guess maybe it depends. Again, if you have some sort of condition, yes, of course, I need my very special mattress. But, like, wouldn't you just, like, both, the couple chooses and it's like, I like this one, like, let's get this one. Again, is it really that serious? It's a mattress.
Their mattress a little
I'm not
softer.
losing any sleep over it.
Prefer spring mattresses, others prefer memory foam. My dad even had a waterbed mattress on his side of the bed.
Oh my god!
Many people also say that it improves their sleep quality because it doesn't affect them as much when the other person moves around. And I'm assuming that's the same reason why there's two separate duvets. You don't...
Okay, hold on. It doesn't move around. Oh, yeah, because you're moving constantly. Well, but it's good. It's still moving. Like, yes, I understand that you're not moving the mattress, but still, like, if you're, like, turning around and moving around, it's still going to hit, like, whatever you are. So, I don't know. Strange. It's always, I don't know. I don't like this.
You don't have to worry about your partner being a blanket thief, and it doesn't wake you up as...
That I agree a little bit more. It's like, yeah, everyone has their own sort of like sheet duvet situation. You do what you want to. You're not stealing. You're not hogging the covers. If someone's like running cold, someone the other, your partner runs cold, you run hot, whatever. You do whatever you want to in that case. But the mattress situation, like, that's a step too far for me.
Easily when they roll around like crazy. Now, as I said, I was actually kind of the odd one out when I still lived in Germany. I never liked the idea of two single mattresses. So when I moved into my first apartment in Munich with my boyfriend at the time, we got one big mattress for the bed. But I remember that when we went to a mattress store, they basically turned us down as soon as we asked for a big mattress. Nine, you don't want to do that because you two have different fates. So you need a softer mattress than him. So I'm telling you, do not do it. So then we ended up ordering it online. What's interesting though is that
that's crazy. Like, if someone, it's like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. Leave me alone. Give me a big mattress.
The two mattress thing really only starts at a bed size of 180 or 2 meters. Smaller beds that are 160 or 140 centimeters wide.
Should I supposed to know how big is a bed? I don't know. Do you just order the mattress by size? Is it like a single? No, wait, a single. It's a single mattress. But then it's like a double mattress. It's a king. It's a queen. Like, you don't really. Actually, I have no idea. But it's like, should I supposed to know how many centimeters are? How big is the bed? I don't know.
Do usually have one big mattress, which leads me to the next difference about beds. The sizes. I feel like beds kind of fall in perfectly with the overall sizing differences between the US
are they smaller?
Europe or the rest of the world. Logical, metric sizing on the one hand, and what seems like randomly made up units that don't relate to one another and make no sense on the other hand. So in Germany,
I'm already getting confused.
Most standard widths for beds are 90 centimeters, 120, 140.
I have no idea what this is. I mean, I'm seeing the centimeters, but I'm not, like, visually, I'm not getting the vision. I have no idea how much that is in real life.
160, 180, and 200 centimeters, aka 2 meters, with the most common length also being at 2 meters. There are other models available as well, but these are kind of the standards that people usually refer to. And when you have a big double bed of 180 or 2 meters, that's when you might put 2 mattresses in it. In the US, the most common sizes are called twin, twin XL, full size, queen size, king size, and California king, which is longer but not quite as wide as a king bed. And it's not just the sizing of the beds that's different, but the bedding as well. So we're kind of circling back to point one, and this is actually another bedroom culture shock that you might experience if you travel to Germany for the first time. German pillows that look like this. Yes, they're big, square, and
well, but that to me, that's not even like, it's in a pillow. I don't know. It's strange, right? It doesn't look, it needs to be more horizontal to be a pillow. It looks like a cushion, basically.
Pretty fluffy and soft, so to many Americans, they're simply not supportive enough. Now, in my family, we always have
Well, but again, that depends. Some people like a soft, fluffy pillow, while others prefer like a sturdy, something a little bit sort of like harder and tougher. It depends on what you like. It depends on your neck. I don't know. Also, again, some people prefer to sleep on like big, fluffy, or again, some people, it doesn't really matter. It can be like a hard surface, but some people prefer to sleep on two pillows, or some people, again, just prefer something flat, soft, and again, just like so many things, it just depends on the person.
Rectangular pillows, those are also common, but most of the pillowcases in Germany are actually made for the square pillows. So if you have rectangular pillows, you often find yourself tucking in the pillowcase to kind of manually adjust the size to your actual pillow. And at hotels, it's pretty likely that your bed will come with square pillows, so consider yourself warned. But for the most part, German pillows come in those two sizes, the square or the rectangular, and blankets usually either come in a one-person size or a...
That's also a little strange to me. Like, shouldn't I don't know, like, you just buy a standard pillowcase? I don't know. This is very confusing. The more I think about it, like, the more confused I am. There's just things I've never thought about before.
Size for people who do want to share their blankets. Which is why in the US, I was surprised to find out that with every bed size, the blanket and pillow sizes change as well. So for a queen bed, you usually have a different size of pillows than for a king bed, even though your head...
Of course, because it has to be proportionate to your bed. If you have like a California queen, California king or something, you're not gonna have like a tiny, tiny pillow. It looks weird. I mean, you can obviously, but you want to have something that looks a little more proportionate to the bed. So it's, or either way, again, you're not having in a twin bed, you're not having like this huge, king size pillow. I mean, again, you can, but it looks a little strange.
Head obviously stays the same size, but I think this has to do with how the pillows fill up the bed. And since your blanket is also usually supposed...
It's visually, it has to match, but it's like a visual thing, not exactly of course your head, it stays the same. I think it's just like visually it looks a little strange.
The entire bed here, those come according to the bed sizes as well. Let's take a step back from just looking at the beds and focus a little more on what's around it, or what's missing. Because when Americans go into a German bedroom, they often miss one very crucial thing.
I'm scared.
A closet.
What?
In American bedrooms, you typically find a door that basically leads to a hidden chamber or alcove or even a small room to store your clothes. Watching American TV shows growing up, I always just thought that these kids just had a particularly cool bedroom with that extra little space that was perfect to hide in or play Time Machine with.
I don't get it.
Turns out those were actually just regular American homes. In fact, a room without a closet is oftentimes not considered a real bedroom. In Germany, bedrooms don't usually have a built-in storage solution like that. Instead, we just put a piece of furniture for that in our bedrooms.
Oh, yeah.
Kleiderschrank. In English, usually referred to as a wardrobe. So yeah, even though German bedrooms are already smaller than American ones typically, you do actually need to fit in even more furniture. Kleiderschrank.
Yep, that's the thing, right? Like, they're smaller because they don't have things like a closet. But I have to say, it depends. I guess a family home definitely has this. But it depends on where you live. If you live in a big city, chances are you're gonna have to get a wardrobe. It's not a thing in a lot of places.
Can come in all different shapes and sizes. The IKEA Pax is a very popular one, for example. And some people also have a built-in wardrobe like this one. Dressers are pretty common in both countries.
That's cool.
One feature that's really cool about German bedrooms, though, that doesn't exist in the US, are rolling shutters, Rollläden in German. I've mentioned these in my video about house differences between Germany and the US because a lot of German homes have these. They're attached on the outside of the window and they're pretty heavy duty actually. They're fully room darkening and reduce noise levels too. In the US, people usually just install indoor blinds and curtains, of course, but those aren't always quite as practical and room darkening as German rolling shutters.
Yeah, because you have to get blackout curtains, and I think it's an extra step. I like the rolling shutter situation. I think they look quite complicated, but in a way, I think I prefer that. Well, Oh no, because yeah, it's still like completely blackout, right? So I think I would prefer the Rolex.
Speaking
the
of
Rolex
windows,
shutters.
another big sleeping difference is that a lot of Germans prefer sleeping
Sleep with
with
their window
open windows, even in the middle of winter. Some people like to open them all the way. Others just put them in the tilt position that German windows can do. And that's
Ooh,
not
I
really
love that
something
one.
that I've seen people do in the US. On the one hand, Americans usually say it's too
Yeah, it depends. I think sometimes, again, it depends on the person. Some people like to sleep with like in a very cold environment, and you like to like I'll have a lot of covers. Again, it just depends on how you like things basically. But I will say that yeah, generally I don't think you open the windows because I mean it's not that safe, right? I would assume. But I think sometimes again, depending on where you live and depending on your taste, sometimes you just want to open the window even during the winter, again, because some people like to sleep with like very in a cold thing. It's kind of nice when it's really cold and you just have a lot of covers. But again, depends on the person,
dangerous
depends
to
on the
sleep
place.
with open windows, especially in
Correct,
urban
it's not that
areas.
safe.
On the other hand, most American households have air conditioning, so they don't actually need to rely on open windows to cool
Correct.
down the temperature inside. And if they want a little breeze in their bedroom, they can just turn on the ceiling fan at night. Again, make sure to check out my home differences
Depends.
video,
Again,
but
depends on where
both
you live, but
AC and ceiling fans are not very common in German homes. Last but not least,
Oh right,
let's
correct. I forgot their fight against
talk
air
about
conditioning.
aesthetics and different interior design preferences when it comes to bedrooms. The first thing you'll notice is flooring. Americans seem to love carpeted floors and rugs. So a lot of American homes have carpet in the bedrooms and other living areas. And in bedrooms with hardwood floors, you'll find that more often than not, there's at least a rug underneath the bed. It's all about that.
Yeah, usually underneath the bed is like a normal place to put a rug. It adds a little something to the bedroom. But again, a lot of these design things are again very particular to your taste. And a lot of these is like very suburban decor, basically. Like the whole, we have to put like the rug, their whole rugged room. Yeah, that's very like, I don't know, like Middle East, but this is like a Midwest thing. Or just like a very suburban situation happening there.
Cozy, warm, soft feeling when you step out of bed in the morning. In Germany, carpet in general isn't nearly as popular in homes, and I've seen a lot of German
so people
bedrooms
don't do
with
that.
hardwood floors or parquet or laminate usually, and no rug to be seen. And that's actually
But it doesn't look a little empty. I think again you have the rug to sort of add a little extra something to the bedroom and it looks a little nicer. But it's also really funny to me because it's not necessarily about like, oh, it's warm, because how much warm? I mean, the rug doesn't really provide a lot of warm. It's just more like, oh, like a nice decor, a nice little thing there. However, I will say that the German situation, it's really funny because it's like, oh, hardwood floors, because all Germans are like, again, this stereotype of like the German that's like, you're gonna have a hard time and you're gonna like it. It's because why would it make my life a little bit more comfortable? No, because this is Germany and you're gonna have the floor, it's gonna be cold and it's gonna be hard. It's like, okay,
another
sure,
aspect
we're
where
in Germany,
I've
I
always
guess.
been American at heart. The house I grew up in did actually have carpet, which again isn't very common in Germany
Okay.
these days. And
But it does
I
happen.
also have carpet at our house here in the US. We even renovated the
Because you're
bedroom
in the
last
US.
year and put in brand new carpet instead of going for hardwood floors because I personally just find it a lot cozier and just a little more homey.
Again, but like she mentioned, it's your preference. Some people like the hardwood floor situation, even in the U.S., and some people like to like put a whole carpet there. Who knows?
Aside from the
I don't know what
flooring,
you
you'll
like.
notice that a lot of Americans love decorations and making their bedrooms look like out of a magazine. A lot of beds here are full of throw blankets and sometimes even several rows
Pillows,
of decorative
yes.
pillows that people take off each night when they go to bed and then they put them all back on in the morning. Not every American is like this, of course, but I've seen this a lot here, even just
Again,
in
yeah.
guest rooms. Whereas in Germany, bedroom decorations are typically a little more minimalistic and, big surprise, more practical. Now I would like to know from
Who
you
knew?
guys, how do you sleep?
Who
What
could
does
have
your
guessed?
bedroom look like? Do you sleep with a top sheet, a comforter, a duvet? Are you a fan of the two mattresses, and why or why not? Do you sleep with the window open or with the ceiling fan on if you're in the US? Let's share our preferences and experiences in the comments below. And if you've ever traveled to the US, to Germany, or another country, how did you do with the different type of beds? Also, if you think I forgot to mention something about bedroom or sleeping differences, please make sure to add it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I feel like talking about sleep and bedrooms sounds kind of trivial, but it's actually such a fundamental topic because obviously we all deal with this every single day, and good quality sleep is so crucial for our overall well-being. By the way, if you like my channel, definitely make sure to also check out my podcast, Understanding Train Station. There's actually only a few more episodes coming before we're ending the podcast. And on our latest episode, we talked to Aramis Merlin, a fellow YouTuber and German actor in LA, and he told us all about what it's really like trying to make it in Hollywood. You can check it out right here. And of course, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and if you want to support my channel, send over a super thanks down below or buy me a coffee on Ko-fi.com. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I hope I'll see you next time. Tschüss!
Yeah, like who knew there were gonna be so many differences between like the German bedding situation and the US one. I didn't really knew that. I think there's just like, again, so many differences that I wasn't expecting. I think a lot of these things can be, I mean, the decor thing, it's just so funny to me how she's like, oh, you know, in the US, a lot of people are very into like making their homes very cozy, and that ties into the rock situation as well, that everything it has like, oh, a throw pillow, and then you put like, I don't know, like several cushions, and you have a comforter, but you know, like maybe something that you don't really use like when you're sleeping. It's just like very, or plants and or paintings. I don't know, you just have a lot of stuff that maybe not the paintings or, you know, just art in general, because I would think maybe Germans are also like, I mean, sometimes again, it's just like, this is the hard thing. I think a lot of these things are so dependent on personality and taste, like depending on what you like. I think there are some Americans that just do not really enjoy a very cluttered home. Some people are just very into, no, I like my bed to not have anything. My bedroom, I want it to be super like clean, minimalistic. There's like nothing here. There's just like the bedroom, no rug, no anything, like 2 side tables, that's it, whatever. So I get it's just like very dependent. And some Germans as well, maybe some Germans are like, no, I want like everything like very like throw everything under the kitchen sink on the bed. And again, because they just like a different type of style. But I think if you're talking about like, again, the stereotype, I would assume that a lot of these things are just very like, again, it's like German mentality of being very efficient and very practical. So I would assume that probably the average German, you know, again, stereotypically speaking, would probably be like, why do you have like so many cushions and so many pillows in your bedroom, if you're in your bed, if you're not going to be using them, if you're just going to like throw them and you have to like set them aside when I go to bed, why would you have them? It's like, well, because it looks nice. But I understand that maybe like the average German is going to be like, this is really not efficient, this is not practical, why are you doing this? Which, you know, again, can happen. The other thing that there are certain things though that again, those are like very particular to your taste. I think I would assume like the duvet thing or the fitted sheet, like that's, I think, placed, you know, like what are you doing with your mattress? But those, I think, ones that I could maybe, I don't know, it's just like, it depends again. It depends on your taste. It depends on how you like to sleep. Same with like the windows. If you like to have your windows open, if you know, if you have like air conditioning, you know, like some people don't, maybe again, when it's really not that hot, because some people live in colder places, even in the US. So you don't have like, oh, I don't sleep with my AC. I don't know. It's just like so many other different things that can happen. But again, those are very particular to your own taste, what you like, what you prefer, whatever. I can set those aside to particular taste. The one that I do believe is really, really weird to me, you know, I wouldn't consider anything to be extremely, I mean, it's a little weird, but whatever. I'm willing to let it slide. The one that I do believe is really, really strange is the double mattress situation. I think to me that one's really weird. It's like, why? And they even have like a separator, like to fill in the separation. Do you have a gap? Why do you have a gap? Isn't that uncomfortable? Oh, it's like a weird line that separates, you know, one person to the other. So like, what happens if you're like rolling over? Do you just tell your partner, hey, you know, just stay in your own mattress? Like, this is like a very strange concept to me. It looks like, because I think I can't get over how much it looks like if you just tuck 2 twin beds in to make like one big bed. And that to me is just really weird, because if you're like sticking them together, again, get a bigger bed. It's just very strange. So I cannot wrap my head around this. It's like very, very weird to me. And I can maybe understand the logic behind this, but unless people have like a very particular situation with their back, or their, I don't know, overall, like this really does affect me like a lot, I need a very special mattress. Well, okay, yeah, sure, of course, like everyone, to each their own. But I find it really weird. It's like, to me, that's like the weirdest thing about this video. It's the mattress. Like, why do you have two mattresses? What is Germany, like, what are you doing? This is really strange. And also something that I never thought of before is that the sizes are different. Again, something that I've never actually thought of before. But apparently, like, yeah, it's like in centimeters, but again, the sizes are different. So it's like, well, I don't know. To me, it's like a standard situation. Like, a king-size bed is going to be a king-size bed in the US, in Germany, in the UK, in whatever region you are. Because it's like, it's a queen, it's a king, it's a twin. I don't know. It's like, it's a standard. I don't know. Everything, like, I would assume is standard. But apparently it isn't, which, okay, well, good to know. And also, again, apparently the German don't want to see a German bed, because apparently they're like very stuck to the floor. It's like, I don't know how separated are you from the floor? Isn't that like, oh, I have to like really, it would be really weird, right? You have to really, I don't know. I feel like I'm rolling over and I'm falling to the floor. If I'm like very, very, like, again, if there's like no separation between the floor and the bed, I would think I'm rolling over. I don't know. And maybe I'm exaggerating. I'm imagining something like this very, you have like a bed that's really not that high. But again, it's like, okay, so you have, or some people have like very tall beds. Again, depends as well. Some people just are really like a tall bed, but I think that's the thing. Maybe it's really common in the US and not in Germany to have those like really tall beds. But again, it depends on the person. It depends. Again, a lot of these things are like very suburban coded, bedrooms. I think a lot of like the medium sort of, again, normal average suburban home, like the bedroom, the main bedroom, because maybe it's just like popular right now. I don't know, like people just really like to have like their bedrooms in their beds. They like a really tall bed. But again, that really depends on your taste. So again, I wouldn't consider that weird. I do consider it weird if you're like, there's like, oh, it's in the floor, basically. It's like, okay, I am going to lie down. Literally, I'm like, okay, I'm in the floor now. You feel like you're camping, basically. It's like, okay, well, give me my sleeping bag, I guess. I don't know. It's just very weird. Now I want to check them out in real life. And that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!